Well, the parking brake's going to clear now. I had this bracket, I had to relieve it, and this pipe is also notched out behind this bolt and notched out partially behind this bolt, this tube, to make clearance for the nuts that are welded on the back of this plate. I just cut the bottom off. What I actually did on this seat is this was originally the passenger base, but I had to weld all this stuff in, all these plates and stuff, to modify for my swivel adapter, and I wanted to do that ahead of time. And so I went ahead and used the passenger's base, and then I'm modifying it. I took the bracket off the driver's seat, and I'm doing that today. But this parking brake will move down that 1.5 inches that I shortened it. I had to notch right here to go around this plastic, so I had to notch that out. I'm going to grind it a little more right here and round this corner off a little different. But it'll fit in there. I got all the bolts in, and it's down, and we'll hook up. And everything should clear now. I just got this plastic panel that goes on this side. I'm just going to have to cut 1.5 inches off the bottom, and then it should fit back in there too. I'll show you the base here in a second. You can see where I cut the, I kind of relieved the parking brake. Let me turn it over here and see it. Where I relieved that a little bit so it would set, so it could set closer to that. Well, the plastic comes up, I think, from the step, and so it clears that a little better. And then this plate is lowered down, so this where this nut goes, the tube's in the way because it has to set flush. And I just use my grinder. Just use your grinder and stand it up on edge, and you can grind a notch in the tube then like that. Mark where it goes. And I think it's basically in the same spot. It's in a little different spot because I had to trim this corner up here. So it's in a little different spot, I guess, because of the way this drops down. The way it drops down, it's in a little different spot. What I did is I set this base in the van, and then I made a couple of little lines at an angle where the cable comes up. And then that way I would know where this part of the bracket lines up. With that notch, is I marked the tube, and then that way it was easier to line this bracket up here. I have this other base here too, tore apart. This is these are the bearings I got, and I welded bolts in them because you don't have access to the bolts once you bolt it together. And you can see I recessed it, and it's just this is 1 inch 1/8 by 1, and then this is the piece. I actually made a jig to use my plasma cutter and cut around, and then I used the part that I cut out to sink down. Just used a regular hole saw for that. The 1 inch strap there. This is a 10 gauge. The 10 gauge is left over from when I built that big I-beam up there, when I built this shop. So it's scrap from that. All this stuff is all scrap I had laying around. A couple pieces of tubing that I had to put on each side here before it goes in the frame. The reason for that is the scrap piece I had was only 13 inches wide. And it needed to be, I guess, like 15 or something. And then I had a couple of extra bars that go across, one in the back and one in the front. This is the plate the seat bolts to. It's what is that, 1.5? 1/4 by 1.5 flat bar. Welded on there. And I welded these with the wrong spacing, so I'm going to have to drill the seat tracks out to match, but it's okay. I've got, with the seat pushed all the way forward, I can still get to the bolt, so it's not a major deal. 61 years old, I still can't read a tape measure, I guess. Anyway, I have it figured out. I drilled the hole. This is for the locking mechanism. I drilled a hole. I welded a little puck underneath. These seats also have pucks underneath here for support. Like that I put. And that helps support this plate when it's straight. So it's not hinging off the, it's not flexing from the center all the way out. That way it gives it support and it makes it really rigid that way. But anyway, I still got to figure out how to do that handle. And I'm not sure. I've got a couple of ideas and none of them I like. So 2 or 3 ideas. So I think right now I'm just going to put it in there and put a bolt back in it. And then that way I can drive it around until I figure out what I want to do. And I'll put this other seat together. And hopefully by the time I get it all welded up, I'll have that figured out what I want to do. And I can make the parts and just put them on this seat. Anyway, what else? Oh, I got a tape. I don't have a tape around. I was going to show you the height on this, but it works out about 1 inch lower. See ya.